Hi everyone, I'm Serena Reynolds. I'm the creative director and owner of Conceptive Limited.
And my name is Sarah Ferrer. I'm a small business consultant. And today we have joining us Sabre Mrkva. He is the CEO of Bright Stripes, which offers fun, creative DIY and craft kits for kids. Full disclosure, I met Sabre at a trade show last year and we just became kindred spirits. And I told Serena, girl, we've got to pull her on the podcast. And so welcome, Sabre, and tell us with Bright Stripes, what motivated you to take that leap into entrepreneurship by starting your company?
Yeah. So my very good friend Eric von Stein and I worked together at another arts and crafts company for many, many years. We worked together for 10 years, side by side, running product development, hiring up people, went through some mergers and acquisitions. We're like, how are we going to tame this beast? So we had been through the fire together. We knew that we were, of sound mind and body. So we were always like thinking, wouldn't it be great if we could just make items that didn't have like all these layers of bureaucracy and like people telling us what to do and we don't think it's right, but then we got to do it anyways. Like, wouldn't it be great if we just had our own company where the vision was pure and the crafts were pure and we didn't put a bunch of plastic crap and things that didn't need to have plastic crap and things and spend all that money and go off in tangents and, like we would do such a great job. And we got a little bit of a kick in the boot, and we actually got let go from our job in 2018. I was 6 months pregnant. We had been talking about it and actually workshopping it because we lived a block away from each other, still do. So we were like taking notes on the ride in and out from work and carpooling together and trying to figure ourselves out. And then when we got the boot, we were like, well, we're ready. Let's just do it. And so we created our LLC the very next day. Like we went out and we're like, I just got canned. He's like, I just got canned too. I was like, let's go meet for breakfast. And then the very next day, we registered our LLC. True story.
That's great. I mean, it just goes to show that even when you think that something's horrible, I mean, being let go isn't the nicest of things to happen to you. But it can sometimes be the pathway to much. It's always the pathway to much bigger and better things. My story is very similar. I also got booted.
Okay. Got booted, yeah. And at first we're like, we'll be left, It's like, you know what, this is what happened. And it was great. It was awesome. I got to collect a little unemployment being 6 months pregnant and get my feet under my ground. We had like a couple of weeks of severance, which is awesome. And then boom, it felt really good. It felt really strong. And then I got to be home with my baby instead of the other plan was I'll have the baby and then figure out how to start a business with you. It's like, that would have been a lot harder. So the timing was perfect. Yeah, the timing was perfect. So.
What made you, first of all, I love that. I recommend if anyone gets canned to go straight to breakfast.
Straight to breakfast.
That feels like a great balance of a day. Why? like DIY, craft, art kits.
Yeah.
Where does that come in terms of like, we're going to start a business and this is going to be it. And it's going to be Bright Stripes.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing is we started consulting and creating these items. And then we're like, these are really cute. We should try to sell them. Let's just throw our hat in the ring. Let's just be importers and take on, an inventory business. That should be easy. So we just, and the naivete of it all. I was like, I think it's going to be really hard because you can be designers and developers, and being a distributor is it's whole business. You got to market and sell and do the inventory operations part. Like, I think it's going to be hard. He's like, no, we got this. We know a bunch of people. We'll sell it to a bunch of people. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And he was, Eric was so sweet. He suggests that we rent a storage unit and get a container of goods and just, unload it ourselves and pack it in a storage unit and just ship product ourselves. They're like, I don't know if that's going to work out so good. So we got set up. We presented our items to a colleague who was also looking for a new opportunity, something new to do. And so he took us on. He was like a very well-respected, wonderful salesperson called John Tuschler. He's been in the business for many, many years, and everyone knows he's like steady Eddie. Like he's very like kind of even keel. And by the end of the call, we're like, we'll just present it. Like we felt so shy with like 30 little items. We're like, we'll present it, you know, and see what he thinks. And maybe one day he'll point us in the right direction. He's like, yeah, he's like, I'll totally work for you guys. Like we didn't have any product. We didn't have anything. And we're like, okay, this could be a business. And so 4 weeks later, literally 4 weeks later, we're like, let's get the samples. Let's build a booth. And we launched at the American Specialty Toy Retailers Association. And it was literally so fast. We got like the last booth in like the newcomers aisle. And John set us up. He set us up with sales groups across the country. He like had handshake deals with everyone that by the end of the week. And he set us up with a warehouse that he knew of. He set us up with like some great shipping rate buying group thing. And he's just such a lovely human being, and was excited to work with him. So we just like did it, you know, we just like started, we just got messy, we just got right in the middle of it, didn't think too hard, you know, and that's how we did it. So October 2019, it was the first time our product arrived.
What year was that? Sorry, I overspoke.
October 2019.
Just before COVID.
Right.
Just
and then in
it
September,
does sound to me as though you kind of threw all your chips up in the air and they landed in a row. It sounded so easy. You make it sound
it was so smooth.
Yeah. Everything just was as it should be.
It kind of was
reality.
It kind of was a bit. We were just like running so fast and like things were falling into place. We're like, let's keep running, let's keep running, let's keep running. And then like these realities would come in. Like I did all the pricing, and then we're like, well, we have to offer free shipping to everybody because all these little mom and pop shops, they need free shipping. And so I was like doing the math after I had figured out the shipping, and we had already printed like 1,000 price lists. And it's like, we're going to be losing 20% on every product. It's like, it's okay. We can raise our prices. No one's seen this price list. So I threw those out. We had like draw up a new price list and print those out. Yeah.
You feel like, so when I hear like, okay, it's okay, is that kind of your gut feeling of or just your, when shit hits the fan, to be very frank, are you like cool under pressure? Are you, because the way you,
I tried.
Okay, is that you? Or is that your business partner? Or is that you kind of?
No, it's way more me. I'm more the cool under pressure. He's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I was like, no, we got this. We can control what we can control, you know, and the rest is. So I'm very calm. I'll be honest with you. Like, real talk. I'm very calm and very collected in my professional life, and in my family life, I'm quite the opposite. So poor guys, they got to take all my bull. I'm like, what? You didn't close the cupboard door? Everyone must die. So I'm a little opposite. Yeah.
We love you for that. I feel like that is so relatable. Right? It's like, oh, you think I'm this calm? You should see me at home.
Yeah.
Did you, when it comes to, and this is kind of a topic we discuss a lot, those first year, second year, especially with COVID, these are outlier years.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are a lot of problems or bumps in the roads or unforeseen, issues.
Yeah.
What is besides, of course, just naturally being calm, can you just speak to kind of what was that process of working through this, of working with retailers, with customers, with yourself, with your business? How do you manage all these changes that are happening, and particularly changes that have money behind them?
Right. Yeah. It's very, we were pretty well prepared in our last job to deal with like the types of things that came up. Like we'd been to a million trade shows, so we had that like shtick down. And we worked well together.
Can I just clarify? Had you worked in commerce before?
Not only on the development side, to be fair. So developing, and then also being in buyer meetings and like trade show stuff. So being in front of customers. So I had that side down. And, Eric and I were both very nosy. And we're like, we're like little smarty kids that tried to get an A on every homework assignment. So, when we're in a room and we see like a guy was like, well, what do you do? And how do you do that? And how does that relate to what I'm doing? So what I can do is better, and what I can communicate to you makes you better. and just like try to fix everything, right? And it's like not show up, do your job, and like bounce out. We were like getting involved. So, we were, kind of, I would have all these operation meetings and we would talk about like item number, like organization tree stuff. Like I was into all that stuff. So when we did our own business, it felt like we're kind of doing the same types of things. But of course, adding in being an importer and figuring out the whole logistics part, that was a whole nother kettle of fish. And like figuring out a warehouse and how to deal with a warehouse and like data and there's a lot with a business. And for a long time, it was just Eric and myself. Now we have some help, 5 years down the road. So that's amazing and makes a huge difference. But in the beginning, I was just like, Google University, like, what does that term mean? Freight forwarder? Yep, I'm right there with you and want you to put that on top too. And, figure it out.
So thank you for being so honest. Because so many times we feel like we have to, I knew the whole playbook before I even knew what a playbook was. And
right.
It's just Googling profit margin.
Right.
In the way beginnings.
Like, is this normal?
But how do you know
in
the beginning until you know?
Yeah, you don't. You have to dive in. Yeah. So there was a lot of diving in. And then we knew people. So if we needed help, we would ask. Like for the whole logistics thing, which is like the paperwork and the processes, like I was very nervous about that. And I had a friend in my daughter's classroom that was in the freight forwarding business and was just starting a freight forwarding business. So he became my freight forwarder. And him and his wife, who was also in the business in the past, like explained the process. I took all these notes like, okay, there's ISF and there's this and this, I would take the notes and figure out how to do these things and Google things when I didn't understand. And yeah, so we knew that we knew enough people that we could rely on their guidance, so that was very helpful too. It's like a goodwill, fostering goodwill, being good people in the world and, always coming right by people worked out for us because people were willing to return the favor for us.
It sounds like you attracted, and this is, naturally I always kind of relate it to Serena and I were just two kindred spirits in the business that came together. It sounds like, not to get too woo-woo, if you will, but like energy kind of attracts like energy, right? And it's sounds like you really use people. You use to network. I'm biased because I've met you and I love you, so I'm like, she's fabulous. But it's that energy that you have of, I'm learning, I'm a student, I'm going to take notes, I'm going to be honest that I need help.
Yeah.
Did that come naturally that I need help? Was that something that you were just very upfront with and that attracted people? Or did you find that you struggled with the ask?
No. We knew that we were like babes in the woods and needed help. And, we're not like going to come out to, consultant that we've never met. We have no idea what we're doing. Please explain everything. We would ask trusted friends or colleagues, how to do things. And but I have always been open because I'm confident that I have enough smarts to like get me through the day. So it's not about like being weak. Like I apologize. If I make a mistake, I'm like, I messed up big time. I am so sorry. I messed up. And I'll tell everyone, I'll tell the factory, I'll tell like the warehouse, I'll tell salespeople, like I messed up, for me, there's no shame in it. Like, I know that's a big deal for a lot of people and I never understand why. It's like, let's move on. Like the weird, like trying to cover yourself, trying to cover your track. Like, I hate that nonsense. Like, that does not work for me. So I think that's
not something
like
that
owning up and
employees do.
Go forward.
Isn't that more of an employee thing? When you become manager of your own business, the only person you're really answerable is yourself.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, for sure. It's a different level of that. But we were, Eric and I were both managing teams at our old job. And, I always hated when you were like, there's a problem, you're trying to figure it out. And then you can kind of see someone just covering their tail. So then you have to spend time on that and unwinding that. And it's just like, it's just wasting everyone's time. We all know there was something screwed up happened. And now I got to do like a forensic analysis. Like, let's cut to the chase, Like we all know. And when you're in manufacturing, these are like real things, right? These are real things, or like they're really in a box. You said there was going to be 6 in a box and there's 4 in the box. Like these are real things that you have to deal with. So like the quicker you can figure it out and like fix the problem, the better, because age does not help with any of those things. It just doesn't. And you learn that pretty quick too. Like being in, product, I don't know, product delivery, like product of physical things. It, you just see it and can't hide.
Be that at this point, if I'm doing the timeline correctly, at this point you had your baby, right? Like, because you were 6 months pregnant about when you had got canned, right? So yeah. All of this is happening. I'm talking first couple of years, going to the trade shows, all these things you kind of knew, right, from past experience. But yet now you've delivered the. How is balancing now being the owner of this business? Was this your second child or first child?
It was my second. Yeah.
Second.
It was my second.
Talk to us about kind of what were you on autopilot? You kind of knew what to do. Was there challenges? Family with, family life and life?
Feels like a lifetime ago. So my daughter's now 5. Okay. So I can my business and my daughter are like the same age, like walking through life, and I can measure years and her height. Right. And it was tough, man. It was really tough because I had a C-section. And so I was like recovering, but then we had to finish these projects. We're a craft company. So there's a lot of panic crafting at the last minute. Okay, it was all cute in the render, but now you have to make it happen, do the photography, get the package together. So I was like, okay, waking up at 5 in the morning with my little stitches, decoupaging some ceramic llama literally in the morning. My mom was here to help me. I'm like, Mom, help me craft, the baby's sleeping, and she was helping me craft. It was a lot of that. My baby was, thank God, healthy, no problems, no issues. My first baby was in the NICU for a month. If that was aligning, I don't know, that would have broke me, but she was fine. I had grandma. We have a 2-family house, so my mother-in-law lives underneath us and we live on top, so she's there. So that's gigantic. That's a gigantic blessing that she's there and she can help me out. So she's helping with the baby, helping with after school stuff. So yeah, I'm very lucky that all of those things are in place, and it's just grind it out and don't get a lot of sleep.
In the first, so talk to us about then going to the trade shows. You kind of have the experience there with the setup. What's if you could just take some big rocks, what was really unexpected, or what were some lessons you learned in the first couple of years? You're like, oh, really, for being so cool, calm, and collected, this threw me off, or this was such a pleasant surprise.
When, demand planning, I don't know if you've experienced trying to figure out what people are going to buy. You make all these things, you think they're all pretty cute, you take it out in the world and you got to put your money where your mouth is. You have to say they're going to buy 12 of these and 35 of these, and you got to put them in container and get them over. So that is, it's an art and a skill to do that. And that has been a long journey of figuring out not buying too much of the duds, buying extra of the good ones, and figuring out which ones are the duds and which ones are the good ones. That's been a hard lesson.
How do you do that? Do you take it to market beforehand? Do you take it round and ask small children to play with your toys? So how does that work?
Oh, yes, I would love to. So I have my own tiny little family test group and neighbors and friends test group. But I mean, I would love to just spend more time with the children, testing things and getting them absolutely perfect. But we show them to our sales guys, but you have to gauge on they're that's nice, or wow, this is amazing, and then gut check. Because for our size of business, if you ask our sales guys for forecasts, our sales groups and whatnot, reps across the country, it's hard to quantify how many mom and pop shops are going to buy this product over the course of the year. It's like, it's pretty abstract. So you just kind of, we've gotten a lot better about like trimming the order as our catalog has grown. We can fill the container with different items. So that's been helpful because we just try to buy tight and then just keep reordering. But that comes with time, right? You don't have that luxury when you only have a couple of items and it's spread across a couple of factories. So in the beginning, we way over inventoried on a few things that we like just got rid of like a couple months ago. It's like, oh, we still have 25 pieces of that first item that we bought. I'm like, boy. So that's a big like learning curve for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that because you just need time, right? You just need time to be like, what's working? What's the trends?
Right.
How did you find that?
We sell well, right? Versus, yeah.
Well, how did you feel that during COVID or, COVID, were you going to the trade shows? Were you like, okay, let's switch up the plan and do more online? How did that kind of affect not just the business, but how did you kind of switch to what the demand was or the shipping delays? What does all that look like?
Well, we all survived as entrepreneurs the COVID years. That was some rough stuff, especially starting during that time. So we got product in on October 2019. We go to our very first trade show, our very first New York Toy Fair. That's in March or February. And in March, the whole world shuts down. So a lot of people canceled. They were like, everyone's on fire for our stuff. It's so awesome. It's so great. It's arts and crafts. So we're like, could have been poised to like really clean house. No, I'm not trying to belittle the moment of the pandemic, but a lot of arts and crafts companies were really set up to do well. We had a placeholder website at that point. We were just like heaving something up. So you could buy stuff, but we still don't like market to our website. It's not really our focus. So we weren't set up for direct to consumer at all. We're not on Amazon, right? We're not on Amazon. And just fledgling relationships with these little mom and pop shops. So some, most of them actually carried through and did an amazing job. They would do like door deliveries and birthday party stuffs, and we're doing a great job of delivering product and keeping kids busy and making it fun and making it part of the, staying at home experience. So we did pretty well with most of our stores. We did a drop ship program where they could just list it on your website and we'll just drop ship it to your customer. And we thought, well, at least that'll get us by. But not that many stores took us up. But the one store that, like a couple stores that did, were like keeping us by. And we were on masonnet.com. That was our only online presence. Between the two, they kept the lights on and like barely kept the lights on because everything was slow as snails. And we weren't set up for direct to consumer. So no one was like buying our stuff when everyone wanted arts and crafts. We're like, I got them. The timing of that was just like off. And that was a tough moment. So the first half of the year was like $0 in, but then the last half kind of picked up as everyone's like, let's have a good Christmas, everyone. So everyone started buying, and then we like evened us out. So yeah, we got through that year. That was a tough year for sure.
How did it sounds like holiday kind of got you through, but then how do you survive? Because it sounds like, you've got a good attitude, you're pretty chill, but then it's also like you can't struggle against the economy or against
no, yeah, that's
global pandemic.
Yeah,
like and your kids at home, like trying to be on Zoom in the second grade. I mean, kudos to all those kids that survived schooling on Zoom. That was not easy for sure. And the teachers,
for us mums.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Those teachers are saints.
Right. Did you find though that like after that holiday, like because you had a sales rep system in place, you had some specialty and boutique stores. Like, did you expand after that, or did you just say, "Listen, guys, we got this system in place. Let's just keep trekking, and over time, something will happen"?
Yeah. Well, that was basically our strategy, to keep trekking, try to get some a little bit larger accounts that will like support us, going forward. But so in 21, we exploded. So then I learned a new lesson in economics. It sounds great. You're like, oh, explosive growth, like a bazillion growth. It's like, you know what that means? It means you're making more money tomorrow than today So today you're losing money. That's what it just is. Let's be real. That's what it means today. You are spending way more than you're earning today because you're growing, and tomorrow is earnings. So this is like intellectually you understand, but when it's your dollar bills and you're like 401k, your measly 401k you cashed out and put in the business, you're like, as the cost of containers like went crazy up and your costs are like going crazy and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And we just like stuck with it, stuck along for the ride. And, you know, fortunately, our factories were very generous with us and us being really late with paying them, being really late. And they survived it. We survived. Everyone just had to like grip the rocket ship. It was blasting through the air. It was like everything was falling apart, you know?
And of course, you guys had all the containers on the ships just lined up outside your ports, not being able to get in, not being able to unload. I remember flying over and seeing that.
Oh yeah, I know. The port business was crazy. I mean, it was $3,000 for a container before we started, and then it was like $4,000 when we started, and then it got up to like $28,000. I mean, how can you factor that into your cost of goods, people? This is what I mean. I don't understand why this wasn't like blasting all over the news. And there's no real reason for it other than it was an opportunity to make some big bucks. And they're just like, it was a horrible what
fine demand
the owners and the consumer was going through. It was just because these shipping guys are like, let's take our day in the sun. Give everyone a big ride.
So you like, I know you had said like, you know, cash out your 401k. Now I'm assuming that actually happened because, you know, or right. Yeah. I could read between the lines. I'm like, you know, us kindred spirits who like a good joke, sometimes joke about personal experience. And so I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, this is what the entrepreneur does. They figure it out. They put their stuff on the line.
Yeah.
What was in your head at that moment? If this let me take a step back. Did you think, heck, what if this doesn't work out? Or were you just like, I'm putting it all on the line?
That was so not an option. It just like was not an option. We just had to ride it out. We knew it was temporary. The shipping thing, like eventually has to go down. But when you see it like 30% month over month, over month, over month, over month, over month, it's like, good God, it's got to have an end. It's got to have an end. And yeah, there was moments of doubt actually at the, like in August at its peak, you're like, oh my God. But then, you know, we had faith that our products people liked them enough, right? And we liked what we were doing enough, and we liked each other enough, and we liked the people we worked with enough. And all of our eggs are frankly in that basket at this point. So it's like, let's just play this out, right? Let's just play this out. You know, this is the cards that we've been dealt. Just like play it out to the end and just keep grinning and bearing it and just keep going. Yeah.
You know, 6 months pregnant, starting a business,
right?
Building, doing decoupage, you know,
right,
with a newborn and stitches. I'm hearing fearlessness, you know, riding out the economic crisis that was happening and global health issues that were happening all around us. So where's the flaws? You're fearless. I mean, that's obvious. So what did you really struggle with? What was the one thing that made you go, do you know what, this, you know, we can ride out these containers, we can ride out this a little while longer?
Yeah.
Where was it that you like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Should I be doing this?
You know what I lose it is that I don't have an MBA. I don't have business degree background. That part I'm definitely figuring out and learning a lot. If you want to get an MBA and you're worried about student debt, just start a business because you'll learn everything real time. You'll probably spend about the same amount of money, maybe go in the same amount of debt, but you will come out so much stronger.
I actually loved that.
I do too. Crash course.
The universities or colleges.
You will learn so much about yourself and your own journey and how you can relate to your children and husband and family. And Well, the financial stuff breaks my brain. This is something that is I've been struggling because the financial modeling, you put it on paper and I can kind of figure it out. And I'm trying to figure out the inventory part, and I'm trying to figure out the projections, your cash flow projections. That part has been a big struggle for me, because there's no cushion. It's like a razor thin getting by to the next day. So we all have to make it work. We have got to pay everyone. It's very important, but it's like figuring that part out has been my biggest struggle for sure. And I'm, trying to learn and got a couple of tricks in Excel, but that's been really hard. And that's the parts where I give up. I don't care. I'm going to work at Dunkin' Donuts because this part is super, super challenging.
And you're going to get me 30% off the donuts, right? I'm going to say Sabre.
And that's enough. You know what? At the end of the day, yeah, sometimes you feel like that. Yeah. So that's the part that breaks, can if I have a couple of days where that's my job, digging in 50 spreadsheets and trying to weave them together to make sense of what's going on, those are the days when I want to kill everyone in my house. Yeah.
Just speak to my accountant. She will concur. I'm exactly the same.
So if you're starting a business, you're going to do NBA DIY, right? Because I'm a DIYer. Get yourself a financial person for sure. That happened late. We've been through so many accountants and we finally have a good one, but that was, oh man, we had some real challenges with that, keeping track of all the things in the correct and proper way that you could follow, and then being consistent person to person as we're trying to find our path. And yeah, so I would say definitely that, because if you're not knowing how much you make, what is it all for? What is it all for?
Mm-hmm. That's a great point about, I think in the beginning that there's always that kind of hustle of just get it done. And that's super great, right? That's great.
Right.
You got to do it. But then at some point, things are going out, things are coming in, make it make sense. I can speak very high level in the beginning, but at some point you feel no, I actually should know on paper what these things
exactly what is happening at every moment in time.
When did you get to that point? Because again, in theory, it's always ideal to say, well, I figured it out quick. Really quantified it.
Can I also just chuck in here as well? Being an entrepreneur, you're the bottom of the list of anyone that gets paid.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
That's a really hard pill to swallow at times.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one putting in the hours. You're the one putting in the risk. And you are the one
last in line.
Penniless.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's very real. That I can relate to. For sure. So after, we're 5 years in of shipping product and figuring out how to give ourselves enough, right? And then we have to prioritize yourself, because there's always 100 guys waiting in line. And if you don't pay yourself and your quality of life is crap, and you look on paper and you're out of everything that I pay for in my year, the part that I have to pay to myself to live is not that much, and then I skip it, this is ridiculous. So we learned that lesson over time too. And there's a reality of you just have to pay everyone. If there's nothing left, there's nothing left. But we've been trying to get better this year about really being disciplined about paying ourselves first. So
fair. It's taken about, it's a journey. And after 5 years, give us kind of an up, where are you guys at? How many stores are you in? In the beginning, you said you were just on Masonette, kind of with the boutiques and specialty. Is that still your core? Have you blown up? Has that growth come to fruition, that expansive growth during COVID? Where are we at now with Bright Stripes?
Yeah. So after that, 1 year where we're ba-bam, that was a lot. We don't want to grow that fast anymore. And then, you're lucky if you can grab onto the comet at that point. So
a lot of companies
this exponential growth that's been steady now, which has been lovely, right? It's
growth sounds like a really good thing, but it can crush a lot of companies.
And that cash flow, man, that's it. It's, you can intellectualize it all you want, but when you're seeing it just the sieve of money going out, and you're but if I could just survive, as we tell ourselves all the time, I know it's hard right now, but if we can just survive to that 3 months in the future when the orders are coming due, right, then we'll have made it. So Yeah, there's still a lot of that going on, but I even forgot the question.
Honestly, I'm just in a trance whatever you say, I'm always like, yes, girl, keep going. But it was just 5 years, that's monumental birthday. Monumental.
Oh, where are we now? Where are we now? Oh, that's the fun part, right? So I want to brag a little bit. So we did our little redo. So this is our one today. So we spent some time. This is a tough year too. So we did a little rebrand. So we have these like
podcasts. So let's describe things as well.
Oh, sure. So we have a logo that we redid. So we're Bright Stripes, and it has like this like kind of paper cut crafty look. We've got these little critters, little pencils and little paint brushes and clouds and strawberries and stuff that are just so cute. That
is it your wholesale catalog that you're showing us, which is beautiful.
Here's me and my buddy Eric looking at the solar eclipse.
5.
Yeah,
big celebration there.
Big celebrations. We're 5 years old. We had a party. We had cupcakes and some sparkling wine at our last Astra trade show. It was really fun. And we have we're being more forward. Before we were like a capsule collection kind of a company where we would have like a little bit over here and a little bit over there. But now we're like Bright Stripes brand forward. And so that was a big journey to get there. We're really excited. So our whole thing is giving kids skills for life, that they, things that they can make that are easy enough for them. Like it has some mastery to it. There's some investment in time, but at the end you make what you see on the package. You're guided to it. It's made for you to feel good about it. And it's a quality thing that you've made at the end. So it's not just like some cheese ball thing that mom is like, thank you. And then she like puts it on the fridge for a moment, and then something that you want. So we have like knitting kits and painting kits and really beautiful things.
So I mean, I've been looking through your website and having a look. My daughter would have absolutely loved this a couple of years ago. She's now nearly 18. She probably still would love most of this, to be honest. Shocking.
I got a 12-year-old. I got a long way to go, man. That's going to be a journey for sure.
I'm sorry,
and
Sarah.
I really love this. I mean, as a mum and as a mum of a child that was creative, I mean, these things are absolutely beautiful, and they look like so much fun. I could have fun doing these things.
Yeah,
that's the crafts and things. And in an era of iPads and iPhones and computers and things, like, I've really struggled over the years to find presents for my children that haven't involved a download.
Right. Oh, I know.
It's a whole new world.
I know.
So I'm really loving what you've got, and I'd love to see, in stores here in the UK, but
right. No, that's the pond we haven't reached over yet. So we're in over I think 1,200 independent mom and pop shops. We've got some things going in Canada, Mastermind Toys. We're deeply into that chain in Canada and other mom and pop locations up there. Chapters Indigo. We got in Nordstrom's and a couple of different department stores. Von Mars, like a regional one, the paper store. So we're in some good locations.
Sure. Sabre. You say all these accomplishments so smooth. Take a step like clap, 5-year birthday, monumental. Do you feel like, let me ask, because when I hear it, when I'm outside of the Bright Stripes bubble, right? So when I hear it, I'm like, oh my God, this is Nordstrom, Von Mar. I mean, these are real
Barnes and Noble. Forgot about Barnes and Noble. Can't talk about Barnes and Noble.
But like, when you look back at it now, 5 years in, and you see where you've come.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. This is amazing. What do you have any insight, any advice, any like, now here's where we've been 5 years later.
Yeah.
What would you tell the Sabre who was at breakfast?
I wouldn't say a word, because if I told her what was really going to go on, she would have run the other way.
Well, I would have gaslit her. It's going to be fine, sweetie.
Oh my gosh. It really would be more like cash flow planning. Don't overbuy, right? Be simple, start simple. you know. And if your guts, you have to listen to your guts, because so many times, like, well, we made this item, let's just buy 3,000 units of it. It's like, we learn now, it's like, no, if it's not resonating, just don't even order it. And you put it in the catalog and no one's buying it, just leave it out, you know. Or, you know, if it's the pricing is now doubled, you said you were going to do it, but the pricing's doubled, like, that needs a rework. Just like, let it stay back, let's rework that, let's get it back into reality. Because at the height of the pandemic, we had our biggest like item, which is this beautiful dream jar. And it was supposed to be $20 retail. And I tell you, it was awesome. It had so many things to figure out. It was like this little world that you build with a little cloud, and it would light up. So it was like this ethereal, like miniature world of a candy castle and a tree house with jungle animal. It was like so cute and so beautiful. It was $40 by the time we got through with it, with the shipping and the things and the stuff. We wouldn't do that again. No more $40 items. Like, no one needs a $40 craft kit. This is a $19.99, $24.99 world, and like we gotta like go back down to earth. So
what yeah. would you have, like, if that happened now, you would have just said, hey, we're not going to proceed forward with it?
Yeah.
Got it. Making
quick you can go down the road, and then you see what it's going to cost, and then you can stop, right? You can
so
always
you know your market. You know your market, you know your audience.
Yeah.
So how many SKUs do you have? I mean, your site looks crowded, it's busy, lots of things going on, it's all beautiful.
We have 130 now, about 130 now. So it's a lot. And we try to, like, you know, keep it fresh too. So as many as we add, we take away pretty much for the past couple of years. So we might expand a little bit more, but we want a tight catalog. We don't want to have, like, to maintain so many different things. You know, we just want everyone to have winners, right? We want all customers to have winners. So, yep. Like a little dog is saying hello to me.
We've been talking about Bright Stripes for, like, you know, of course, for the hour, but where did the name come from?
So we were, you know, Eric and I were in the car. I was taking my notes as he's driving us to work, and we come up with this long list of names, and we're trying to figure it out, and just something that, like, where did it? Because like the high eyes there, the bright stripes, and something about it just like hit us. But we had a lot of them. Yeah, we were doing that for days and days and days, coming up with different names and of things or products or collections or brands or and so that was the one that stood out as like a really fun one.
So we're coming up on our time now. Okay. I'd really like to ask, I mean, one of my biggest takeaways from this is how you just jumped in. You've been talking about it, an opportunity came up, and you fearlessly jumped in. And not knowing everything, and you were perfectly upfront about not knowing everything at the beginning. But what I'd really like to know is, where do you see this in another 5 years on your 10th birthday?
Oh my. Yeah. So Eric and I have a big vision for Bright Stripes to be there at 5 years down the road. You know, we're trying our best as a small company with not a lot of buying power, right? Trying to make our products as eco as possible. So we've eliminated as much plastic in our packaging as we can. We have a product line that's made of all like recycled plastic bottle, polar fleece and stuffing. So more eco materials. And by 5 years, I would love to say that every single product is made like with our, you know, fully proud of all of the recycled paper and recycled plastic bottles and bioplastics, and everything's made of recycled or biodegradable. We're introducing some really fun kits coming up, and I could see us getting more involved in just teaching kids about ecology also, and like learning about how our earth works through crafts and beautiful things, and just having a bigger impact on kids, like working more closely with children, and our charity Art Feeds, who we give back to, in our I Heart Art art supply line. They do amazing work doing social, emotional learning through art projects. So it builds their self-esteem, helps like little kids deal with these big feelings. They're on the front lines when people lost their homes due to tornadoes, or they have some kind of emotional school crisis, like, middle school suicide, like horrible things. And they're there to help kids process all these things with art projects. And they have teacher trainings that I absolutely see myself working much more closely with them in the future, and just, getting involved with real kids, and sharing the love of craft and how you can make things, how you can be a producer, not just a passive consumer. Like these kids, a lot of kids today, they don't connect, they don't have that tactile skill. And it's, and our hands are like our heart, right? And it's like, if you don't keep your hands busy, like there's something like aching and missing in your heart, I think. Like you have to be busy. You have to like get the creative juices flowing, and do those problem solving things. Like these two things, how do they fit together, and making them fit, and being a problem solver in this world is a big thing that I am happy to kind of contribute to in my small way. So that's where I see some.
I love that. And then Sabre, for anyone listening, where do they find these amazing craft and art kits? Where can they buy in? They love it. They're like, give me that creative kit. I need to not that.
Yeah. You have an unusual domain, so you have to shout it out.
What?
.co. You're a .co. You're not a .com.
Oh, right. .co.
.co.
Yeah. Bright Stripes with the GH. Bright Stripes with the S. .co. C-O. Not .com, just .co.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me one time we were chatting, you're like, in the beginning we couldn't afford the M, and I was like,
it was $5,000 for register.com.
Yes.
It's like $50 for .co.
Nobody else was using it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then we have a store locator on our website, so you can go there and you can type in your zip code, and it will tell you the local stores that carry Bright Stripes items, because we love local retail, support our local retailers, and that would be lovely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sabre. This has been wonderful hearing the journey of Bright Stripes. Serena, baby girl, I always love meeting with you and chatting. So this is just my weekly catch up with you. And thank you for sharing your story. And until next time.